So my target for yesterday, I said I wanted to see this low taken. That did end up happening. Um, After the challenging morning session, um, I got in here and took a really nice, profitable trade and got out at the high of day. After that, I was done trading for the day because this was pretty challenging and stressful. Um, so I took my break after I got out here, and then it basically just went lower all day. And during the afternoon session, uh, it didn't really offer much of a premium. I guess it did here, but I wasn't watching it then. So I didn't participate in the move down to that low that I talked about. And then the overnight session went significantly lower. So there's a really big new day opening gap. So the midpoint is obviously a draw. And then there's equal highs right here. Hmm. Traded into the daily inversion for value gap here. It's not labeled as an inversion, but it is. This one traded into the upper bottom here. Basically, we're running against anybody trying to buy the bull flag on the daily chart. That's why this was such an aggressive move lower, because it's a daily bull flag getting tipped above my buy side objective. And then it even tipped this wick, and all the bodies on the daily chart stayed below the order block's midpoint here, this white line. So it's bearish. And the reason I wanted to see that low yesterday was because there's a daily for value gap right here at that low. So I wanted it to trade to that and potentially through it. And it did end up doing that. I just didn't participate in that. I participated in the Judas swing higher ahead of that move lower, uh, from right about here to here. And this morning, there's no news again. Tomorrow, there's high impact at 2. Um, but it's been pretty back and forth all morning so far. Hasn't really done much of anything. I want to target these highs here. because I want to be shooting for a portion of this gap to be filled in. And I think the mid gap and then these London highs here would be the best case scenario. So that's what I want to aim for. But so far this morning, it's just taken both sides. There's two small liquidity pools right here. And there's a 15-minute inversion for value gap below that. And that's also an order block. It's nested inside of an order block. So go ahead and get the midpoint of that. There. And that's overlapping the daily quadrant. So that's a nice area to look for a low in the morning session and a potential reversal up to these highs here. Currently using this as inversion pretty nicely. It's reaching deep into it, and all the bodies are staying really low. There's that cell side here. Waiting to see ES take some of these lows, and for NQ to trade it into this 15-minute fair value gap. It's a 5-minute wick here. It's up close candles. Wick it's trading into. So it could hold the midpoint of that. Is 10 o'clock. That was quick. That was really fast. 10 o'clock, I would expect some sort of retracement against the already existing move, and that would be uh, this move lower. So check out all these little minor buy side pools here. Just not entirely convinced that this is bullish yet. ES has equal lows here and here. It has equal highs as well, but if I want to be leaning bullish and I want a nice run higher, these lows need to get taken first. It could use this for value gap to go higher, but it is still respecting this inversion bearishly, and we wicked really high up above the liquidity here. Yeah, this looks bearish. It coming that deep, that needs to be a breakaway gap. I feel like this would have been a nice entry to go short after this wick comes in and it respects the midpoint of this mitigation block here, and then the bodies are closing below this. I guess it's not inversion, just the first presented. This candle reaching up to that midpoint would have been a nice entry. It's my fill. The low of first presented. I'm shooting for the low of day. My stop is above the midpoint of this wicks. All right, I'm just going to demand that it keeps going. Go to break even. Check yes real quick. Yeah, I want to see low of day taken in this inefficiency traded too. That would be a nice place for a partial if I had more than one contract. So $100 profit is just about what, like 814-ish, maybe 812. So I'm just going to go ahead and lock that in and just demand it gets real fast, real heavy in here. Got real close to my full target, really close. There it is. That was pretty easy. That was a $150 profit. Um, it took about 3 minutes, so that's pretty nice. Uh, Yesterday, the $187 profit trade took 34 minutes, so that's significantly easier than yesterday. And I was just aiming for the midpoint of the 15-minute inversion for value gap. That was a pretty precise entry. I didn't take much drawdown. It went extremely fast to my full target. And I had these liquidity pools drawn. The second one, this lower one, it just barely ticked below it. That's not enough. So really, that kind of created equal lows. And there's the inefficiency and the order block to trade to still. And with these wicks coming in up above all of these stacked highs on a 5-second chart, that's a bunch of liquidity. Uh, and then I believe this would be a mitigation block, respected the midpoint of that. And so whenever this became an inversion for value gap here, if it was going to be bullish, this would have been a breakaway gap. Whenever it fills in the whole thing here, um, I felt confident using the low of first presented. I hesitated placing the order because I didn't think it would offer it, but once this candle came in, I thought that it could offer it, so I placed it then. And I went to break even extremely quickly. I think I had $70 risk. Um, and I think that risk was only on for about, look at the 5 second chart, maybe 30 seconds. Uh, I got this little bit of drawdown. It came back down. This candle started trading significantly lower, and before this candle even closed, I just went to break even because this move up with these two up closed candles, that needs to be it for any move higher. Um, I want it. I wanted to see it go immediately below these lows, and so when this candle starts trading that deep into the range of these two up close candles, I don't want it. I don't want to see it come back up to the highs here. So I just go to break even and demand that it continues that momentum lower. So I was risking $70, but that risk was only on for about 30 seconds. And I got out pretty near the low of this move. So that's not too bad. So ES has taken low of day for the regular trading hours, low of the morning session. So now I feel a lot more comfortable trying to go long. It did leave equal lows here, though. So that's a slight. But with a move this deep into the range, I'm feeling pretty confident in taking out all of these stacked highs here. ES actually has a lot of buy side that was generated overnight. It has really nice London session liquidity here. In Q, not so much. It kind of. Where's that Monday? Am I going too far back? Okay, this is what I was talking about. It does have equal highs here, um, but they're not extremely obvious unless you're looking at a 1 minute chart. On any other time frame, that this high isn't there. It's just a wick. Um, yeah, like on the 5 minute chart, this high, this swing high isn't there. It's just a 5 minute wick, and there's an inefficiency here. And then this 3 o'clock high was tipped this internal high here. So they're just not like extremely obvious. ES is kind of the same, but it has all of this here from the Asia session kind of stacked on top of this London high here. And 3 o'clock didn't tip that high. So the liquidity on ES is a little more obvious. And 20. Interesting. Closed a tick below the midpoint of that 15-minute order block. Go ahead and get rid of these liquidity pools here. That's a 5-minute wick. I'll get rid of that too. But of course, if you look at a 5-minute chart, the bodies did close below the midpoint, but it stayed inside of it and then respected that order block. So just because the 1-minute is misbehaving a little bit, going outside of your lines just a little bit, I mean, the 5-minute chart isn't doing that. You have to remember how small of a time frame even the 5-minute chart is, let alone a 1-minute chart. I wouldn't be surprised if this just continues going straight back up. I wouldn't be shocked. Just looking at ES, it looks like ES could snap through these highs pretty quick. I don't know how strong of a reaction NQ is going to get. I like high of day here of the morning session because it's stacked with these pre-market highs here, and then I guess here, technically that's a London high, right? I mean, London session doesn't close until noon, I think, so technically that's a London high. But I'm pretty sure the most significant London highs are formed between either like 1 to 2 a.m. to 3 or 4 a.m., something like that. That's at 4:30. So I like the idea of these highs getting taken. Trade it into an order block here. Get rid of all these lines now. I was just using this Wix midpoint for my stop loss. You could do, whenever it's kind of like meandering lower like this, you can get the new day gap and project lower to get a potential area to watch for low of day. There is a lot more liquidity sell side to go take care of. Yeah, I think these lows are looking really interesting. There's a very significant sell side that's right below the midpoint of the daily inversion. I'm going to label this an inversion because it's bothering me. Really, really clean. Equal lows down here. That's that other low. So that's how close they are together. And it's right next to the midpoint of the daily inversion. So, and then there's also a low Pretty significant low. Right there as well. So we could go a lot lower. But I think it would be productive if it offered a premium up above the liquidity here. And then use today's new day gap, maybe the midpoint. I think the midpoint would be just about the highest it would go. It would probably use the what is that? Is that the octant? No, that's the so it'd probably use the lower quadrant to go lower, and then the midpoint would be just highest premium offered, most likely. Somewhere around there. And I think that would just be productive. And then shoot for the sell side down here. It doesn't really have to do that. I think the pre-market highs here and the lower quadrant of the new day gap would be a really nice area to go sweep and then come back down for these lows because it's down a lot from yesterday. Um, there you go. So I assume ES has taken out all that buy side. It's not. It's just taken out this one. Surely it's about to go pop up above all this. It swept this low here, see that? And then use this inversion. That's pretty perfect. It's not too bad. This low and then the inversion here. I wonder, because there's equal lows right here. And this just doesn't look, something about this looks off to me. For me to like trust it's gonna go higher from here. I don't really know what it is. It just doesn't look right. Looks like it's missing something. Um, so it could be, I think it's these equal lows, and then I don't know. It's just weird. It looks off. I don't know, but I'm going to be done for the morning session. It was pretty easy. I'm happy with the profit, and I think I don't know if this is quite high resistance. It's not like too bad for it being high resistance. It could be way worse than this, but it's not easy necessarily. And I think the afternoon session could be better and more obvious. So I'm probably gonna just take a break and come back later.